Now we're getting into the nuts and bolts of why a lot of folks do this. Uncapping tools. When the bees finish off their honey, they put a wax cap on it. To get your honey out of there, the most efficiently, you need to cut that off. And there's a ways of doing that is with a little scratcher like this. It'll just come and scratch those cells, that open up the cells. It does leave a little bit of wax there, or through knives. This one is a knife that is just, it's not heated, it's got serrated edges on it, helps you to cut through that wax. And this one is heated. We do have the types that are thermostatically controlled. You can go from a low heat to a hot heat if you need to do that. And as you get more experience in doing it, it'll be warm and it will cut that wax out very quickly, very easily. The wax is kind of like what they do with cheese. Just puts it around there and it helps preserve it with the hive. In the back of this, you can see the mediums back here where this was taken from. Now the extraction process, many ways to do it. One of the most efficient ways is to uncap your hives, your frames of honey, and then put them into an extractor that's a centrifuge basically. And this is a nice way for it to do is they point towards the center because now the honey can be coming off both sides of it, to the sides of this extractor. It will then fall down the extractor into the bottom where you'll have a honey gate and you put a bucket underneath there to collect the honey that's coming out of it. Out of this, as you do it, you're going to have bee parts and you're going to have wax and other things that are naturally occurring in the hive, and a strainer will go, you might want a strainer on the outside of it. Some people don't. But this is a plastic extractor. This one will do 2 frames, the small ones. Plastic, very inexpensive. This one can do 2 to 4, and some of them will go up to 6. And they'll often be able to use either 2 of the small ones in each one of the baskets that's in there, or 1 large one, whichever you want you're using to put your honey in. But then you have to spin these. There's a little handle on them, and you then whirl those around until the honey is extracted out of the sides from the frames. Really helps if you have some young teenagers that want to build up their biceps or other types of things, or some endurance, and spin those for about 40 hours and get your honey out of it. Honey storage is important. You'll see here that the honey is coming out of the extractor, and if you look really close so you can see it, you'll see little things in there which is mainly wax. That's from when you scrape the cappings and scrape that tops off of the honey cells, that they'll get into as they extract and the centrifuge comes out. Some of that honey and the wax will come with the honey and it'll come out. So you might want to put a sieve in there. This is a double mesh sieve. This one here this will turn over and set on top of that bucket, and you'll have 2 parts. The top part is removable, so you can close off your extractor and hold your honey for a while, and then you can clean that top one out and open it up and continue to flow, because it will get clogged up with a lot of the wax and stuff that's inside. And of course you're going to want bottles to put it in, and you can put your own labels on these things. And when you have this in your house, it's amazing how your neighbors become friendly, and relatives that you haven't seen for a long time come over to see you. So you'll probably want to have a few of these ready for those that you want to pass out to. This bucket here is just a 5-gallon bucket. It has a honey gate that's been inserted in the bottom so that you can put it underneath your extractor and receive the honey that's going to come out. Great way to store it if it's a food grade bucket. Put a lid on it and it will last for years. About 3 years ago I purchased some honey from an individual that was a neighbor, and his dad had them, and he had it in his basement, and it had them there for over 25 years. We brought them home, took the lids off, warmed them up, used the honey. It was perfect. It was just a good honey. So it's a good way to store your honey. You have to ask why people keep bees and do things. A lot of folks think that they're nuts because of the potential, the bees are, they sting people. And I found a picture one time of a Frenchman taking care of his hives. And he's handling about 6 or 7 hives that are standing in front of him. And you can see more hives in the background. And all he's wearing is a little beret and a Speedo, and taking care of his honey. I don't use it on my presentations anymore. It's kind of shocking to people to see that come up all of a sudden. So it is possible to work your bees that way. We do know that bees increase your garden growth, the pollination of your fruits and vegetables. For example, 80% of our almonds in the world come out of California, and those all have to be pollinated by a bee going to each one of those flowers. And it's a huge influx of beehives into those almond fields in the early spring, and then the almonds grow. Just in our garden, I know that we've had, you can definitely see the production increase if you've got a hive nearby and the bees are working your garden. You'll see an increase in the stuff that comes out of it. Some folks, there was a post that we had one time that showed the difference in a grocery store of the items that were pollinated by bees, and then if those were all taken away or didn't have bees, and you can see quite a difference in the two stores and the produce that's in there if the bees are not pollinating like we need them to. Well, this is the number one reason why people do it, and this health benefits. The propolis, everything that comes out of that hive, the propolis, the pollen, and the honey are certainly all things that are good for us, and many people are starting to use them as a natural way of helping their health. Some of the concerns that people have. I want you to show you this one right here. This is Jason's family. This is an active hive, and all of them are standing around this hive unprotected as far as protective clothing goes. But that's not something we recommend. It's just showing you that you can have hives like this that can help you. You should be wearing your protective clothing until you develop a way of dealing with your bees or how you feel comfortable with them. And so it is possible to work your bees without protective clothing on and be near the hives. We see a lot more cities in the United States that are allowing beekeepers and backyard beekeepers to have hives within urban areas. And you should check your local ordinances. It's usually easy to do that by going on to your search engines and typing in your city, and then whatever the city say, it's Salt Lake City, and beekeeping laws. And it usually gives some choices, and you'll be able to navigate your way to the ordinances and laws that are on the books for that municipality and find out if you need any kind of special things. A lot of municipalities now are allowing you to keep them, but you have to build a 6-foot fence around, at least on your property, and that fence has to be a solid fence. It can't be a chain link fence. The reason being is to force the bees that are coming out of your hive and going to and from to fly high enough to get up over folks and then go to where they're going to forage for their stuff. Good. And it doesn't take a lot of space to have it. You can see how wide these are. This is just one hive with a hive stand, and it takes very little space. Pets and livestock usually get an understanding of what is going on there and don't go over and bother it. So you can go to our website, which is harvestlandhoney.com. You'll see some more of this information and all of this information on the website. And you can stop in at your local Cal Ranch store and look at all of the products that are available there and make your decisions as to what you want to do. Buying your bees, Cal Ranch does offer the bees, and they will help you find your bees in their allotment of bees. So you should start getting on those in the area, talking to them anytime after January, and might have to get on the list, and that will preserve your opportunity to get your packages of bees. We also encourage you to comply with all local, county, or state regulations. In our state, you're required to register with the state. If you're a small beekeeper, you pay $10 a year. You do have to number your hives so that anybody that goes out to that hive can see and obtain that number if they want to, and the state can let them know about where they're at or who owns those hives. We usually have questions at this time, but that's not going to be something that we'll take from here. But if you have questions, stop in at your local Cal Ranch or visit us on our website. We take the sting out of beekeeping. Wear your suits, your protective clothing. I talked to a beekeeper that had been doing it for 35 years. He told me he had never been stung. And I had to look at that, and I was a little bit skeptical of that. But I said, well, how do you account for that? He said that he always wore his protective clothing. So those are the things that you need to remember as you're doing the beekeeping. That'll conclude our presentation. Thank you very much.